Can you believe it's been 20 years since we were first introduced to the plastics? To celebrate this pop culture milestone, we're diving deep into the film, discussing its timeless themes, unforgettable characters, and iconic lines. So grab your burn book and let's celebrate 2 decades of Mean Girls. Welcome to the No More Late Fees podcast. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Jackie. And we're just two best friends and ex-Blockbuster employees rewatching some of the best and worst movies from the late 90s and early 2000s. This week, we are talking about the comedy Mean Girls. But before we dive in, let's get into some housekeeping. If you love the podcast and you want to support us, here are a few ways that you can.
Did you know writing us a review and/or rating us helps us get more listeners? Please head on over to Spotify. We need help with the ratings. We're at a 4.8, y'all. I don't like that. It don't make me feel good. And if you are so inclined, head to Apple and write us a review.
And you can buy our love. Head on over to ko-fi.com/no-more-late-fees. Leave us a one-time donation, if you will, if you like what you hear. And for $50, you can even buy an episode. We will do a movie that you are dying for us to do.
And don't forget to head to our Redbubble store at nomorelateFees.redbubble.com and check out our merch. We have all of our fun sayings from the episodes, and you can get a t-shirt, mug, whatever, with our No More Late Fees logo.
But we're not alone this week. We're so excited to have our amazing friend, actress, and new mom, and returning guest, Gwen, back to join us. Hey, Gwen.
Welcome back.
Hi. It sounded almost like you were introducing a Halloween episode. You're like, we're not alone.
With
There's a ghost in here.
Ooh.
I'm alive.
She made it, y'all. She a mom
I
now.
made it. We were kind of close. No, we're doing just fine. Thanks for having me back again.
We're so glad that you're here.
So excited. Plus, we got to get your numbers up, girl.
Yeah.
People are starting to get close to how many times you've been on the show.
Yeah.
We don't
really?
Yeah.
No, I got to stay ahead.
Yeah.
If you want to get to know Gwen a little bit better, come back later this week as we play a Mean Girl Superlatives game in our bonus episode. And don't forget to go back to check out our previous episodes with Gwen, including She's All That, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, and our Bridget Jones's episodes. Check out our show notes for all the links, and let's get into Mean Girls.
So this is technically 6.
You're right.
Because of the lost episode.
The lost episode.
The lost episode. So yeah.
Maybe one day we'll go.
You and other people get close to 6. That's fun. I'm glad you have. I'm for real though. I'm glad you have a lot of repeat guests.
Thank you. And we got the best of the best from Mean Girls.
We did. My insurance guy is gonna send you the paperwork for the next of kinship. Okay.
Oh God. All right. I will sign whatever I need to sign for you.
Excellent.
I don't even need to read it. Whatever it is.
Yep.
Signing.
So, Mean Girls. Teenager Katie Heron was educated in Africa by her parents. When her family moves to the suburbs of Illinois, Katie finally gets to experience public school and gets a primer on the cruel, tacked laws of popularity that divide her fellow students into tightly knit cliques. She unwittingly finds herself in the good graces of an elite group of cool students dubbed the Plastics, but Katie soon realizes how her shallow group of new friends earned this nickname. It stars Lindsay Lohan, Rachel McAdams, Tim Meadows, Lacey Chabert, Lizzie Kaplan, Danielle Franzese, Amanda Seyfried, Amy Poehler, and Tina Fey. It was directed by Mark Waters, and the screenplay was written by Tina Fey, adapted from Queen Bees and Wannabes by Rosalind Wiseman, and you can currently watch it on Hulu. Before we start, let's get into our ratings rewind.
So you know the drill. Before we get into the movie, we will reveal the rating our Y2K versions of ourselves would give. Then at the end, we'll see if our current selves agree with our initial rating. Our scale consists of would buy it again,
The best would play on repeat.
5-day rental,
Would watch again.
2-day rental,
Okay, but nothing to write home about.
same day rental.
Fetch is never going to happen. It's trash.
All right, Gwen, we'll start with you. What was your Y2K rating of Mean Girls?
My rating at the time would buy it again. Easily. I watched it many times. I tried to add another option into the thing as a joke, and that didn't work. I was gonna put it on Danielle's. Anyway, it was gonna say something like would buy it again, but Tina Fey is fired or something. Yes, would buy it again.
Okay.
Excellent.
Jackie?
Same, would buy it. I owned it, watched it many times, memorized it, and did.
It's no surprise here. Would buy for sure.
Excellent.
I even made my own little mini burn book
Oh
my God.
so that I can cuss out my haters.
do you care to read an excerpt from it?
I have yet to grace this one.
Oh,
brand
this
new,
is
fresh.
A new one.
Yes, the other one is done. Yeah.
You filled up the previous one, and so you need a new one.
Yes. I think it's cathartic. So if you are like, especially the last few years has been hard. So go ahead and write in there. Let's get into
box office.
Forget burn book, more like slam book. All right. The budget for this movie was $18 million. And it made $130.1 million. Now, Jackie, I added something in here because when I saw those numbers, I was just like, that's it? That's all it made?
Yeah,
I know that's
I would have thought more.
Right. Bewitched. We just did Bewitched. $131.4 million. Bewitched made more than Mean Girls. Let that sit in.
How?
Jackie, at first I thought it was one of your cats.
Wasn't Bewitched like so stupid?
It is the dumbest movie.
That's what from what I remember, it was pretty stupid.
It's like, you know, in Billy Madison at the end where like the guy's like, we are all now dumber for have listened to you. That's how I felt with Bewitched.
Yeah. I don't remember it being good.
But it made more. Like
But the boomers loved it
because of Nora Ephron. That was
the boomers. The boomers did it.
Fucking boomers.
It was the last movie they all saw.
Put that in your burn book, Danielle.
Wait, let me hold on.
The first entry.
So excited.
Burn book.
I'm giddy with joy.
Boomers who watched Bewitched.
Oh man.
How did Bewitched earn more money? I am flummoxed.
You're bewitched.
I am.
I don't know if you can see. Boomers
who watch
Bewitched. Oh, let me be specific.
Okay.
The 2005 movie.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any problems
right.
with the original.
No.
I feel like this book is going to get long tonight.
It's really funny.
That needs to be your burn books specifically for the podcast because you got
I think you need to keep that going. Yeah.
A lot of hard opinions.
Tina Fey. So she read Rosalind Wiseman's Queen Bees and Wannabes and called Saturday Night Live producer, aka Daddy, Lorne Michaels. No, it's not her real daddy, but they've got such a strong relationship that I think it's pretty much been said that when he finally retires from Saturday Night Live, she will most likely be the one to take over his predecessor.
Oh, that's interesting.
Very.
I always thought it was going to be Keenan.
No, I don't know what deal with the devil he's got going on with that. Like, dude, why are you on the show for so long? But you know what? I'm never going to stand in the way between a black man and a solid chick. Anywho, Lorne Michaels, she called him and she said, I want to turn this into a film. He contacted Paramount Pictures and purchased the rights of the book. And as the book is nonfiction, Faye wrote the plot from scratch, borrowing elements from her own experience at Upper Darby High School and her impressions of Evanston Township High School and New Trier Township High School from her time living in Chicago, upon which the film's fictional North Shore High School is based. So that's how we started to get the rumblings of good old Mean Girls.
Well, before we dive into the cast and crew, let's hear a little message from one of our pod pals.
"30 Dirty and Dying" is the podcast for flailing millennials by flailing millennials. Every week, two sick, sad millennials who just happen to be best friends get together to talk about what it's like hitting the 30 mark and still feeling like you don't quite have your life together.
We're 30-ish, we're dirty-ish, we're dying-ish.
Every week we go back in time to relive the years of our millennial youth, whether that's cringe posts from the earliest days of social media or all the way back to the 90s to see what was going on in pop culture. 30 Dirty and Dying is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We have new episodes every 30 Thursday, and you can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at 30 Dirty and Dying to keep up with what our millennial midlife crisis looks like next.
Okay. So, cast and crew. Faye Michaels and Paramount's chairman Sherry Lansing wanted to cast Lindsay Lohan after seeing her performance in Freaky Friday. And I believe she was originally cast as Regina, but she wanted to play the nice girl, so she switched roles, right?
So what happened was, first of all, the thing about when movies are this big and so many people were trying to be a part of it, there are so much just disinformation. I don't know, because like different people have interviews, but like at first it said that they wanted Lindsay Lohan, but then I read something that Hilary Duff was offered the role of Katie, but she declined. Now I know, not in the thick of the Lohan Duff like feud did they think these two were going to be in the same fucking movie together. Crazy. So I really wonder if that was the truth at all. Even though Hilary Duff had star power, I feel like this role needed somebody with like a really strong acting presence. This was not like just a teeny bopper film. No hate to Hilary, because I think categorically she has become a better actor. I've said that on the show a few times. So I kind of side-eye that one. But actually, yes, Lindsay really wanted to play Regina. The problem was her team was like, because of this fucking feud, she was looked at as more the villain and not like the good, clean girl in comparison to like a Hilary Duff. So they were afraid that if she went and played that role, that it would just like cause problems. So, and I think Lauren and Tina wanted her to play Katie. So that's when Rachel McAdams was cast as Regina. Faye said that McAdams brought kind of like a kind and polite way to the character, making her perfect for such an evil-spirited character. And Mark Waters, because remember they worked together on Freaky Friday, he already knew Lindsay. He felt like she was a little intimidated by Rachel McAdams, I guess, when they were like testing screen tests. And he thought that dynamic, he liked that. Originally, McAdams had auditioned for Katie, but she was deemed a little too old for the character. How are you too old for Katie?
I think they meant like she had like more maturity to her, less innocence to her.
Yeah, that
would
makes more sense
than like, because Lindsay did innocent so well.
She did. Lindsay could do anything.
She was so good. She's such a good actress.
She is.
God, but Hillary and Lindsay together would have been a different movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have loved to see it.
Danielle would have been there with her popcorn, eating it up.
I would have had a sleeping bag. Why did I sound like I had a lisp?
I don't know.
I can't imagine Hillary is doing that. Maybe if she's like la 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 la.
I could see her as
Yeah.
Katie for a while, but not the like manipulative version of her.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Her little scrunchy face she does.
Who else auditioned?
For Katie, we had Kristen Stewart, Michelle Trachtenberg, and Mae Whitman. I love me some Mae Whitman.
Me
Like,
too.
she's
Mhm.
just amazing.
And it's so funny
but-
that Michelle Trachtenberg was in there because now we've done a few Lindsay Lohan movies and we learned that Michelle was going to be in Parent Trap before and she couldn't do it. And then she was also supposed to be in Freaky Friday and then she couldn't do it. So those two keep on just like, I guess at that time, if you were a certain actress of a certain age, it was inevitable, but I thought that was interesting.
It looks like for Karen, we had Blake Lively. And then
Producers didn't like her. Producers didn't like her.
I
Oh,
love
no.
how the producers just said, keep looking.
It's
So
magic.
interesting.
Leighton Meester, Haley Duff, Kate Mara, Megan Fox, and Scarlett Johansson all were up for the role as Karen.
I would have loved to see Leighton Meester in this movie.
That would have been interesting.
Megan Fox would have been
A choice.
I think she plays a really good mean girl, but
I think
like,
she would have done great as Regina.
yeah, but
I
not
think that
as,
would have been like where you would classically put her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like it'd be interesting to have her play sort of against that.
Yeah.
and who are we like Haley Duff, poor thing. Somebody really needed to hold her hand and say, it's just not gonna happen, boo.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's just not.
Yeah.
Only if you're with your sister. That's it. That's that's it. Go do your Hallmark movies and call it a day. Pack it up. I just never saw like I didn't see the talent.
No.
Mm-mm.
There was nothing about her that was appealing to me in any way. And that's not to say that every sibling of someone famous is the same. Because I fucks with Ashley Simpson.
So does Ken. He has pieces of me on heavy rotation in the car.
that autobiography CD did something to me. Okay.
He loves it. Mary Elizabeth Winstead was asked to audition for the role of Gretchen Wieners, but then there is conflicting information that Lucy Chabert was the first and only choice for Gretchen Wieners, but then it also says that I guess audition versus top choice are two different things because Ashley Tisdale and Vanessa Hudgens also auditioned for Gretchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I do like Ashley Tisdale as an actress. I think she does well, but I don't know if I could have seen her in these movies. And I feel like she was so much younger than the rest of the. Well, I guess Lindsay was young.
Yeah,
so maybe. America Ferrera and Kat Dennings were both heavily favored for the role of Janice Ian. I could have seen Kat Dennings playing that role.
100%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
America Ferrera, maybe.
She's incredible acting wise. So she probably, she must have crushed it.
Yeah.
But it's not her typical thing.
No.
Jonathan Bennett was actually a last minute replacement after the actor originally slated to play Aaron Samuels was fired. And then James Franco had previously been considered for Aaron along with Penn Badgley, Jared Padalecki, and Max Miganella.
Boo, James Franco. Write him in the burn book.
Boo.
Oh, yes.
James Franco.
With
Boo, get out of here.
Judd Apatow.
Yes.
Judd Apatow. And James the Nasty Franco.
Yeah, nasty.
Yeah, nasty.
But I do love that Tina Fey decided to hire Jonathan Bennett because of his resemblance to her longtime SNL co-star Jimmy Fallon.
When nepotism works in your favor in a weirdest way. Evan Rachel Wood was offered a role in the film, but turned it down due to scheduling. The movie she made instead, I was like, damn, girl, you really missed the bag on that one. Maybe this would have kept her from dating Marilyn Manson because
Maybe.
Oh yeah.
Oof.
different route. But they never say what role they offered her. So I was always curious as to which role she would have played.
I can see her playing Katie.
Yeah, I can too.
Like, we know she can do Sweet and Innocent. We know she can do
13S
angsty,
crazy.
yeah, teenager.
She could have done, oh my God.
Regina?
No, Janice.
Janice.
I think she
Oh,
could have
yeah.
done Janice.
Yeah, it's
I
Definitely.
think she could have done it with a 13-esque, like you were saying.
yeah. And Lizzie Kaplan was at first considered too beautiful for the role, for which Waters felt a Kelly Osbourne type was necessary, but Kaplan was chosen for being able to portray raw emotion. Now,
Or Kelly Osbourne.
this is not the first time on this show that we've heard something like this.
Yeah, like,
What?
Interesting.
I'm not ever going to say poor Kelly Osbourne because I think she and her entire family is trash. Let me put that in there. But
well, I'm just saying, like, to be a type in a movie, like,
Yeah.
and she can't even fucking act. They're just calling her fat and ugly. That's what they wanted to
exactly.
say.
Yeah, that's what they're,
Yes.
yeah. Which is not
The
nice.
Osbournes.
They're mean girls.
Especially
Yes.
their mom.
Definitely.
Especially Cher.
You just had to part Lizzie's hair weird and then it was
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Just give her like a little funky hairdo. And
Just,
That's it.
yeah.
The casting department searched high and low through 4 cities to find the right actor to play Damien. Love that.
The perfect
I love
actor.
that too.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Lacey and Danielle were the last actors tested for their roles. Tina Fey wrote 2 roles based on fellow SNL alumni Tim Meadows and Amy Poehler, the latter of whom Fey thought the producers would perceive as too young to portray a teenager's mother. The cast additionally ended up with a 4th veteran of the show, Anna Gasteyer. Now, this is another thing where it's conflicting. I don't know if maybe she wrote the role of Meadows or changed it for Tim later, but it said that Steve Martin, a personal comedy hero of Tina's, was asked to portray Mr. Duval, the school principal, but he was busy shooting Cheaper by the Dozen with Hillary and declined. Chevy Chase was then suggested, but producer Lorne Michaels refused to cast Chase because he banned the actor from ever hosting his show, Saturday Night Live, again, due to some controversy. Then Tim Meadows was eventually cast. So I don't know if she rewrote the role to be more for Tim, but essentially
or
it
if
seems
Tim
like
just like did his own version of
Yeah.
probably is my guess. And he was so good. He's I think so underrated, and maybe he's not
I
underrated.
agree.
Yeah.
I thought everything he did was so, but his timing is so good. He was so good.
It was great because I know Tina didn't write that for him. Here's the thing. I'm gonna start it now, my Tina hate train. I love pretty much any Tina Fey movie, but I always had moments of uncomfortableness or side eyes. And like literally every project she makes, I enjoy it. But that woman is racist. And I don't even think she realizes it or notices it, even though people call her out on almost every project she does because she does things that are just so stereotypical. And she likes to say that it's just comedy and people are being too like not taking it seriously. To me, it just feels like you really don't have community with Black people or any other ethnicity for real, because it is wild some of the shit she puts in movies, especially the early 2000s when I don't think a lot of people were checking her as much as probably now. And even with Kimmy Schmidt, there was some shit, and I love the character of Titus, like love it. But I think that had more to do with the actor himself just taking that role and just killing it. But yeah, I would love to have a sit down with her and just say, bitch, what is going on with you? But the moment I realized that she grew up in like the suburbs of Chicago, and even though she moved to New York, no access, no real interactions with people of color. And you could tell how she feels about them in every project that she does. And it's you can't tell me that you don't think that woman is not racist. Like I don't get it. And I'm gonna put her
Yeah.
in the book right now. And that
I
it
thought she
kills
was the
me.
first one in there.
And it kills me because I love that movie Baby Mama.
Oh
It
yeah.
cracks me up.
Things can be true at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah. And it kills me because I love Amy Poehler so much, but they're besties. And I'm like, birds of a feather, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Even though I think she's way better. Like her projects, I don't see that like I see with Tina's. Okay.
Yeah.
What else we got? I just had to lay the foundation.
No, it's important. It's
Because,
important.
and it's not just me. Like, if you think it's just, oh,
No,
Danielle, here we
it's
go
not.
again. Google and you will see articles from people much smarter than me that dig deep into this because it is a problem.
Mm.
What else we got, Jackie?
Thank you, Danielle.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm gonna read those articles.
No, like some of them are really good.
I'm gonna. Yeah,
Yeah.
I bet.
I think we've covered cast and crew pretty well. Should we just. And we're going to do things a tiny bit different this week because we all know and love Mean Girls. So I don't think we need to go scene by scene like we typically do. So we are just going to talk about our favorite things we found problems with, the acting. Yeah, just anything that comes to our mind. And it may be linear and it may not. So
I do think that despite some of the discrepancies I said, like the writing for this movie is impeccable. So I think the thing that makes a classic is that it can hold true in any time.
Yeah.
That it's a time capsule for the time period that it's made, but it can also just like you can watch it right now and not feel like it's absolutely dated. And I think Tina Fey did an amazing job with that. And she talked about how she made up some of the slang and stuff in the movie so that it wouldn't have that kind of dated feel to it.
Yeah, it's
That
really
it
smart.
could, yeah, it really was. So I think the writing is impeccable. And I think they found this is an example of a movie that was perfectly cast.
100%.
Yes. Yeah, the casting was absolutely crushed in this movie.
Literally
Yeah.
don't think anybody was out of place, even the background players. I think one of the critiques of this movie though is that the diversity, and we talked about this in She's All That, where it's like the diversity of characters, not just like ethnicity, but like we get a good full gambit of the different types of people can be represented in this movie, but it is at the expense of being stereotypes and background.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It
we
is.
have disabled characters, we have gay characters, black characters, Asian characters, and then what ends up happening is that they're caricatures. And this is what we've talked about in the past of that if you don't have that ability to put yourself in another person's shoes, then you need to have writers that have that experience to help.
Yes.
Imagine how much funnier this movie could have been if you had people from that perspective helping.
Mhm.
So
I'm with you there.
I
I'm with you. I also like they're, calling out the fat phobia in this movie as well.
Yes.
That felt dated to me. That and the couple of R words. Those were like the
Yes.
main glaring things.
I'm like, oh,
But yeah, the stereotyped and I think, yeah, I can imagine, Tina Fey being like, oh, well, it was for comedy. Like, I'm not stereotyping people. Stereotypes are, but she is,
yeah.
though. She
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
And if you think the black community is annoyed with Tina Fey, I mean, they are, but they don't care. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think they pay attention as much, but the Asian community, my God, there are some videos on TikTok. I was like, shit, I didn't even know or realize that that's fucked up, Tina. Like,
Oh.
they were pretty mad about,
I'm going down a rabbit hole later.
Yeah, I'm so glad I know that. I'm so glad I know more about this.
insane. But other than that, again, from a white girl perspective, on par. It was top work, you know?
Sure,
Well,
sure.
and speaking about some of the stereotypes, like right out of the gate, we get the fat kid in class that farts a lot, so you don't want to sit around him.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they're introducing Katie has just moved here from Africa, the teacher immediately assumes it's the black girl in class. And
First of all, why not say which country? I
yeah,
don't understand from a Western
That,
standpoint
yes.
why,
yes.
if you
Why
really
just
think,
Africa?
if you think about it, the thought process that the colonized world looks at an entire one of the biggest continents on this earth, you only name it by the continent. You don't
Yeah.
call any other continent. Like when I'm talking about England, I talk about England. I'm not saying Europe. It's
Right.
fucking weird.
And it plays into like so many white people being like, oh, over in Africa, this, and over in
Right.
Africa, that. And it's like,
Yeah.
where?
I bet
Where? What are you talking about?
if you went on a street on a random neighborhood and asked somebody what the capital of Africa is, many people would not correct you to say that's a continent. And
Yeah.
that blows my mind. Even
Yeah.
when I watch my K-dramas, when somebody, one of the chabos or like rich people get in trouble, they send them to
To
Africa
Africa.
to go do work, like charity work. And I'm like, bitch, there are countries in that continent that have more money
Yeah.
than all of Korea. Get out of
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. And I think
Crazy.
they speak Afrikaans in that movie, which is a very colonized, I believe, African language.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm like, oh, so they're just in South Africa or what? Like,
And
yeah.
I think it's weird that Katie would come from that environment, like growing up in Africa with African friends, if she didn't grow up in like South Africa, let's say, and she grew up in an actual African country with Black people, that the first place she wouldn't be line, like they showed that instance where she goes and talks to this Black girl and starts to try to like engage with her, like one of her friends. It just didn't feel right. Like
Yeah.
even if she grew up in Africa, it makes it seem as if that country, the country she was in, was so ass backwards
Yeah.
that she wouldn't know how to interact with people. That seems
Because
weird.
when you go to
Mhm.
Africa, you're just always on safari. Like
Right.
those two things just go hand in hand.
And I just want to
Yeah.
know, Tina Fey, why
Yeah.
why not
It
why
just
not
like
Antarctica?
she just didn't think specific. She didn't put any specificity into the whole
No.
Africa thing. Clearly, there's no specificity there, so that becomes a problem.
Right.
Yeah, she didn't care to put that much specificity. She's like, oh, they speak what Afrikaans, and then she says Jumbo.
Yeah.
Like,
And she thought it
And
was
then they have like
hilarious.
fertility vases.
yeah, it's very like, and she's like, well, it's a comedy, it doesn't matter. It matters.
Yeah.
And I think that would be the talking. That's a talking point now. Is like, I would hope
Represent.
now she wouldn't remake that the same, but
Yeah.
we'll have to read up on her history and see. It's just maybe not. Maybe she would.
So that I thought that was wild, and because I would feel like Katie would feel the most comfortable in community with other Black people because that's what she grew up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. We do get a really great throwaway line from Janice. Someone asks her like what are wigs made out of? And she just whips around and goes, your mother's
Your
chest
mom's
hair.
chest hair. Your mom's chest hair.
And I'm
Oh
like,
God.
I love that her
Janice
shirt
is
says
like one of my favorite characters of all time. Like I just
Mhm.
love her rage.
I love that her shirt just says rubbish when we
Yep.
meet her. Just
That's who she is.
yep.
Unapologetically Janice. And I guess the joke was so deeply embedded that a lot of people didn't get that the reason why they think Janice is a lesbian is because she's Lebanese. And in middle school, Regina got that confused with being a lesbian.
Right. Which,
Yeah.
if you go down rabbit holes, there are so many people that think that really it was a deflection of Regina, who is most likely a lesbian herself.
Yeah, they talk about that a lot when they cast Renee Rapp for the new musical.
Yeah.
Right.
I watching some random TikToks of Renee Rapp like touring or whatever, like doing her music. There's a lot of like people would hold signs up saying like Regina George is gay or like whatever, and she's like, yeah, because Renee is, and I just think that's so fun.
Our bisexual queen. She's amazing.
I love her. I get to see her in a couple weeks. I'm very excited. She's performing at ACL.
She's so good.
Nice.
Yeah.
I do love how when Katie meets Damien and
Janice.
Thank you. When Katie meets Damien and Janice, how they like kind of take her under their wing and then they lay out all the cliques. And we get this scene so many different times in different movies. We got it in Clueless. And so kind of see where everybody kind of fits. And I love we end up seeing like a pencil drawing of all the little tables. And there are some hidden Easter eggs in that. If you like freeze it, I remember when I was younger, I will try to freeze it to kind of see the whole thing. I love that now we can find out what some of the things say.
At the top of the lunch map that Janice makes for Katie, she wrote a cautious note for the woods behind the school saying, "Makeout zone, warning, there is sexual activity in these woods."
I love that. And I also love there's so much foreshadowing in the movie.
Yes.
It's funny to me that most of this movie was shot in Toronto in Canada.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be set in Evanston, Illinois, but it was mostly shot in Toronto, Ontario as well. They did film some at Montclair High School in New Jersey. Let me put that in the burn book.
New Jersey.
New
Jersey. I won't tell Ron.
Hey, yeah.
Actually, I don't think you would mind. I don't think you would mind.
We do meet some of the teachers. The health teacher is my personal favorite because he just his cautionary tale is always like, have sex and die. Like, just don't do it.
At the same time,
he will get chlamydia and die.
Yes.
He's a pedophile.
He is.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's him.
Pedophilia in this movie.
Yeah, that was like, they're like, haha. I'm like, what? No.
And I hate that it was the two minority Asian women that we see in this film as well.
Which, why I told you the Asian community hella pissed because they say it fetishizes their community. And
I see why.
Tina Fey can get it.
We meet, I don't even remember her name, Tina Fey's the math teacher.
Right.
And then there's a very angry German teacher.
Oh yeah, really briefly.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then Tim Meadows is the principal. Those are pretty much the main adult characters other than Katie's parents and then Regina's mom.
Here is a tweet. Alex Abids, I don't even know if I said that right. Tina Fey also has a shitty track record when it comes to depicting Asian people, women in particular, Mean Girls, Sisters, 30 Rock. The underlying joke is that they're hypersexual and looking for green cards, can't speak English.
Fuck. It is in Sisters.
Mm-hmm. When confronted in 2016, Faye was basically a shrug emoji. That same year, Kimmy Schmidt included an episode where Titus believes he is a geisha and comes under criticism from an Asian activist group. The acronym for that group was called RAPE. in the show. Tina Fey is
Whoa.
allowed to create whatever comedy she wants. People are also allowed to feel however they want in response
Yes.
to it. And Tina
Yep.
Fey isn't good at handling that criticism.
Yeah, sounds like she isn't.
Holy shit.
Disappointing.
Ooh, I feel weird now.
Facts on facts on facts.
I mean, hey,
That bitch is
knowledge is
trash.
power.
Well, and then we do get that classic Girls line that's the Karen, you can't just ask people why they're white. Like,
I actually laughed at that one.
That's
well,
pretty
it's
funny.
it is a
That's
pretty funny line.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's just flipped.
But it's
It's
still
flipped,
like
you know.
commenting on race, but like making it reverse of like
Right.
minority. Like it just, I love that line, and simultaneously I'm like, there's so much wrong with this line.
I love that from an ageism standpoint, where she thought that they weren't going to want Amy Poehler to play the mom because she was so much, yeah, like she was so young, and
Yeah.
really that not that much of an age difference between her and Rachel McAdams. And the studio is like, oh no, that's perfect. That's the way we like it.
Hmm.
We like that. That
Yeah.
sounds right. She looks too old to be in this movie any other way. She's got to be a mother to a half-grown child.
The age difference between Amy Poehler and Rachel McAdams is 7 years. The age difference between Rachel McAdams and Lindsay Lohan is
Mhm.
8 years. So in Bizarro
Weird.
World, Rachel McAdams could have played Lindsay Lohan's mom in this movie.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Casting's
Crazy.
weird.
Yeah,
It's so
casting's really weird.
It's weird.
So Tina Fey loves to like name characters after people she knows. So she did that for these characters. So in a 2014 interview, she said she was able to say like where some of the names came from. Katie was named after Faye's college roommate, Katie Gary. Damien was named after Faye's high school friend, Damien Holbrook, who actually went on to become a writer for TV Guide. Minor character Glen Coco, you go Glen Coco, is
Ugh, so
named
good.
after a friend of Faye's older brother. The real Glen Coco works as a film editor in Los Angeles. Janice Ian was named after singer Janice Ian, who was once a musical guest on the first Saturday Night Live episode in which she sang a song at 17, which can be heard playing in the background when the girls are fighting at Regina's house.
Oh, weird.
Nice.
The character Miss Norbury was named after a German teacher at Upper Darby High School, where Tina Fey attended.
I love it.
I like that because I feel like if I wrote a movie, I definitely would name characters after people I know or hated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my other favorite lines is Damien and Janice are in the bathroom because Katie's eating lunch in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then this girl comes in and she's shorter and
Yeah.
and she's trying to tell Damien like you can't be in here. This is the girls' bathroom. And then he just turns around and is like, oh my god, Danny DeVito, I love you, and like chases her out of the bathroom.
Danny DeVito, I love your work.
Oh, it's so good.
You know, one of my pet peeves, let me write this down, is why in movies when somebody is ostracized or like can't hang out in the cafeteria, out of all the places they choose to go eat in the fucking bathroom,
I know
is
you
so
hate the duty
unsanitary.
germs.
It's
That's
so
so gross.
nasty. Eating in the bathroom. Not good.
It's not a
Yeah.
thing people did. I don't know why that's
No.
like such a cliche in movies. Like,
I
just go
don't
eat in the bathroom
know.
stall. You could like literally go sit in a hallway or in a
Yeah.
classroom. Like come on.
The library somewhere.
Outside.
Yeah. We find out that she wants to lose 3 pounds. And so she's trying to figure out ways to do that. But she also expects whenever she says, I want to lose 3 pounds, that people fawn all over her and tell her that she's perfect and doesn't need to lose any weight. But she also doesn't understand how like calories work, because it's
No.
like she's looking at a yogurt and then she's just like, I'm going to go get cheese fries.
And it's funny
Is
because
butter a carb? Things like that.
Right.
right. We also have to remember that this movie was at the height of what like Y2K anorexia that they were pushing on all of
Yes.
us young people.
Yeah.
Low rise jeans, hip bone coming out kind of nonsense. So I was
Hated it.
surprised that Regina was even eating anything in the first place.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the rating. So the rating, they fought hard for the PG-13 rating, but there was a lot of jokes that had to like be changed and cut out because they were kind of like lingering on getting an R. So in the scene where Katie was asked if her muffin was buttered from, I think was it Jason? It was
Yeah.
originally supposed to be, is your cherry popped? The same went for the girl who made out with the hot dog. This was supposed to be masturbated with the hot dog, and they were omitted for a PG-13 rating instead of an R. I think there was another line that Tina Fey ended up fighting for because
The wide set vagina joke, which
Yeah, I love this fact.
the girl who plays this character with the wide set vagina, she doesn't have many lines, but every single line she has hits. She's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
But it was becoming difficult to keep the wide set vagina joke. But Tina Fey pointed out that the director pointed out that Anchorman had similar dialogue and received that a PG-13 rating. So they won that battle for.
Yeah, and like I don't even know how, because when I think about it, it's so tame in comparison.
That's what
Anchorman
I was
had
thinking.
little violence in
Because
it.
it's men saying these things, and then when like young women say them, they're like, that's inappropriate, which is so weird because the young women are the ones with the vaginas. We should be able to
Yes.
talk about them. And
Well,
like, but when the men say vagina, they're like, haha, so funny. It's, yeah, PG-13's fine. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like misogyny.
Wide set vagina is a clinical term.
Yeah.
Like you're not saying anything that you wouldn't hear maybe at a doctor. I don't know if there are wide set vaginas, but like,
Which is vagina is
Yeah.
not like a dirty word. Like,
Question for the
Exactly.
audience, if you're still listening.
do you
Wide
have
set
a wide
vagina,
set vagina?
Is it real? Is it a
or a medium set, or a small set,
Small set.
narrow set.
Please let us know. But that was, yeah, like the least offensive joke in this whole movie.
Could you imagine this movie being called anything other than Mean Girls?
No.
No.
It was
What was it gonna be?
It was originally going to be called Homeschooled.
Boring.
Yes, very.
It was probably just like the title they held it, or the holding title. What is it called?
Yeah, that I don't know.
They send it out under
The script was the screenplay was
Yeah.
titled that. We'll come up with a better one later.
It should have been called Wide Set Vagina.
Do you guys think that
Yeah.
Regina was really, really mean?
Oh gosh. Here we go.
I'm just putting that question out there.
It's interesting because there were glimpses of her genuinely being nice and caring, and then she immediately reverted back to meanness.
Right.
Which I think
Yeah.
worked in her favor because you never really hated Regina. You were always just like, why you gotta
Scared
be
of her,
shitty?
intimidated by her, I would
Yeah.
say. And like what was I gonna say? I just lost my thought. My thought went right through the computer screen, out the other side, and to the front of my house, down the street. I would call her controlling for sure.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She was mean in the way of like she was controlling of her friends, but her friends had no spine. They never
Yes.
stood up to her. So that's on them too.
Yeah.
There were things she did that was mean. Like
Yeah.
telling everyone that Janice is a lesbian and can't be at her birthday party. That shit was mean.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Definitely was not nice to her friend. And
No.
I think she was very passive aggressive, and her meanness sometimes wasn't upfront, and I hate a passive aggressive bitch, I'll tell you that. But like when one of the girls, when she said, "Oh, I love your skirt," this is when Katie is kind of recognizing her character, that Regina's characteristics, that she's not maybe the best person. She's like, oh, I love your skirt. And then as soon as the girl walks away, she's like, I hate your effing skirt, which you went out of your way to do that.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, that was like just a
it
power play.
right.
There's a lot of power plays, a lot of like needing control in her life.
Yes. And I think one of the things that this movie does really well is kind of showing that world of like women and how they operate. Now, like if you pull back a little bit more, yes, you're seeing this in a high school setting. I would love to see this in a work setting.
Yes.
Ooh.
And again, I'm not mad that this movie primarily focuses on white girls because girl world is a big world and there's different dynamics, and at the like baseline, many women can understand things as women. But when you talk about the white women and culturally how, and this is just me as an observer, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, that passive aggressiveness is kind of taught because that is how survival happens, especially when engaging with white men. And so there becomes like this cataclysmic situation that happens because of it. And in like other cultures, it is totally okay to be outspoken, open, and say what needs to be said without having to have like this underneath cattiness, because it's taught. I mean, I think for women in general, we're taught to be quiet and demure, but I think it's even more put so on upon white women. And so
That's
you see
part
that,
of why white women are so terrifying.
yes, especially
and we are
at
scary.
work for
Yeah,
other
definitely.
women, especially like women of color, because they don't always necessarily operate in that way, you know. And I think this could also go to why sometimes it's so hard to have intersectionality with feminism, because we can't have those conversations to kind of get to the nitty gritty of that, and how sometimes growing up with that puts other people in danger, essentially. So it was very interesting now as an older person watching this and seeing how it so can translate into what I've seen at work, and how I have to operate in a totally different situation because of how you have people like a Regina George who can't flat out be open about who they are.
Yeah. Or even
So
like a Gretchen Wiener who kind of hides behind the fact that like, because she's always like, my father invented toaster strudel, and it's kind of like a funny throwaway joke, but it's like she almost says it with the intent of like, he's gonna come after you, like he's big and scary
right, I have
because he
money.
has all this power and
Right.
money, and so like I'm just gonna sick my daddy after you. So she doesn't have to have any sort of spine or anything because she's just relying on the male figure in her life to fight her fights for her.
And she uses secrets as a way
Yep.
to,
Yes.
hold power.
Yep.
So even in that trio, she holds dominance over Karen. Karen seems like she doesn't care, but she still has that weight. She finds usefulness, or just like being able to hold all of Regina's secrets
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
anybody else's that she needs to help Regina
To
operate.
survive. Yeah.
Right. So it's just, so I love seeing Katie come into the situation who did not grow up in quote unquote girl world, and especially white woman girl world, not
Yeah.
knowing these unsaid rules, and like having to figure this shit out. And then
I
you
love
see
that.
Janice operating outside of it. She knows how it works, but she rebels against it, mainly because she was so hurt, probably at a young age, and says, you know what? I don't want to be a part of that shit, but I would love to tear it down. I would love to fuck with it. But then she inadvertently she uses Katie, even though Katie's in on the plan. but she doesn't have that understanding of
Right.
what the motivations are behind Janice's
Yeah,
plan.
she's just trying to take her power back too.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really interesting.
I thought this
I
was
love
going to
that.
be a fun movie. And I hope people aren't mad when they listen to this episode.
Well, it's conversations that we should be having, and not everything is fun, and we can still enjoy the movie, but also understand that there are certain things about it that we need to have conversations about and explore it on a deeper level.
Well, it's part of what's so great about this podcast and why I keep coming back and why everybody should listen to it, because you talk about then versus now, and there's so much that changes, and the time it does so much, and wisdom does so much, and as we age, we learn and we grow, and I think that's like part of the whole thing you guys are doing. So it is super important, and we can love the heck out of this movie and criticize it at the same time.
Yes.
It's totally doable.
It's our favorite pastime.
Yeah, that's what you both are so good at it. You can find them on Instagram. No more late fees.
No
Give
more
them money.
fees. Give
Pay
us
them
all
money,
the coins.
please.
I do love the dynamic, like seeing the different friendships form between, obviously you have the trio of the plastics, then you have the trio of Katie coming in with Janice and Damien, and how they let her be herself, and they're just so welcoming to her. And they're even welcoming because, let me tell you, I've had that happen before, where you make friends with the new person and then they decide that they want to level up with somebody else more popular, and now you're not friends anymore.
Yeah.
After they got their footing and they're like, this is where I belong now. I'm like, okay, bitch, put you in my book. I think it's great that when Katie went to go sit with the plastics and didn't choose Damien and
Yes, I know.
and they weren't mad at her.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh, well, this is perfect. We can have the plan. And one of my favorite scenes is, Katie decides that she's still going to try to be nice to the plastics, whatever. And she, she meets Aaron, really likes him, tells Gretchen that she likes him. And Gretchen's like, oh, no, you can't like Aaron. It's just against the rules. She still goes about her business to do it. And when they have the Halloween party, and of course, Gretchen went and told Regina that Katie likes Aaron. Now all of a sudden, Regina's like, okay, Aaron's back on the market for me. And when she loses her shit and then goes back to Janice's, I guess they're at Damien's house or his garage or whatever, that blackboard scene.
I wrote it down. It was Aaron Samuel's body, an army of skanks.
Oh yeah.
The way to take her down. And I feel like whenever I'm ready to take down an enemy, I do the same thing.
You gotta have
on a chalkboard in your garage.
Gotta have some sort of board, something for everybody to see what you're plotting, so you can get it done.
It's the high school level equivalent of the whiteboard in First Wives Club, where they're taking down the ex-husband.
Yeah.
And just taking everything away from him.
That, we talked about that in that episode, because I was like, I don't know where they got that board from. It looked like a roadmap to success.
It was amazing. One of Gretchen's secrets is Regina makes out with this other guy in the projection room on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Above the auditorium.
So they keep trying to get Aaron to go to the projection room. But one of the things they do is just put a sign up that says swim practice is held in the projection room today.
It's swim practice will be held in the projection room above the auditorium. It's so funny.
What?
And I like when Lindsay is like, oh no, my purse. I think he's headed for the projection room above the auditorium, and then looks so satisfied with that. She's like, I did it. It's so funny.
And Damien is just running for his life.
Poor Damien. I'm like,
he always in costume, that one.
Yeah. Yes. He looks like a robber. He has just pantyhose
Like-
on his head. Like,
Like out of high school. So
And I
weird.
love how, like, when they do go in there, they catch Coach Carr with his
Yeah.
pedophilia.
yeah.
And, like, he's right there. You don't ever see what happens, the resolution
Yeah.
between the bag and everything. I always think it's interesting how in some of these Mean Girl kind of movies where the queen bee thinks so much that she's on the top that she can get a little pet or a project and remake them, and that they're not going to be competition to them. And we quickly start to see that after Regina takes Katie under her wing, that Katie flourishes, and that now there's like talks in the school that Katie may potentially be like the new Regina George. Even when the fact that, like, unbeknownst to her and Damien, and you know what it is? I keep on calling her Janice Lizzie, but yeah, and Janice, that the school actually votes for Katie as one of the nominees for queen, or I don't know what was it,
Homecoming.
homecoming,
For
No,
homecoming.
it was Spring
Spring Fling
Fling.
Queen.
spring fling
Yeah.
queen, yeah. And I think Regina does see that in Katie, and that's why she starts to do some of those things, like with Aaron, and kind of just passive aggressive things towards
Yeah.
Katie.
Yeah.
And I think it's weird because she noticed it early on, I think, and still did the makeover and tried to, was it like, let me befriend her before she really becomes like her own thing?
Maybe she was thinking, like, if I can get her in my orbit, I can control her.
Mm,
Maybe.
yeah.
That's a really
she
interesting
seemed,
question.
she seems like she could be controlled pretty easily because,
Yeah.
again, she doesn't know the unsaid social contracts and how things work because she's been so removed from girl world, quote
Yeah.
unquote. So for a while, Kate, but she doesn't also know that the mystery element of Janice and Damien
Right.
are like also teaching her. So it's very like she's got two really bad teachers.
Yeah.
Katie could have been
Definitely.
a bigger monster than she. I think they should have really let her, like, what she ended up just a little bit was nothing. I think they should have let her go full on
Mean
bitch.
Girl.
Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, mid, like, sabotage or whatever she's doing, she realizes, like, hey, this is fucked up. And then that's her redemption arc.
I think it should have been all the way to when Regina gets hit with a bus before she, like,
Yeah.
really, really.
So we have the man. So eventually Katie gets drunk and just tells Aaron, like, Regina's cheating on you, because their attempts at him catching Regina do not work.
I don't think she gets drunk. This is when he was at her house tutoring her. That's when she tells
Oh,
him.
that's right. You're right.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. He was tutoring her.
I
Yeah.
forgot it was the word vomit and then the actual vomit.
Yes.
Yes, that's
Yes.
right. That's right.
And then for her hot body, Katie has these protein bars to put
Calcium
calorie.
bars.
Yeah,
Calcium bars.
to put calories on, but they're in another language, so she just tells Regina they're weight loss bars and they're not legal in the US, and that's why they have a foreign language on them. So eventually Regina, and they give her foot cream to put on her face.
Which just, like, that's when they were first
Just made her
starting and
smell
just
good.
made,
Yeah. I'm
She
like,
smells like
if
mint.
you want to do something like that, like, you give her like straight up Crisco or something. You don't give her foot cream.
Crisco.
If you want her
Wow.
to, like, break out,
Crisco.
Damn, Jackie.
let me
Crack
I
out
could,
that Crisco.
I could take Katie under my wing, show her a thing or two.
Let me show you how to really get a bitch.
And then it culminates in a scene where, like, the only thing that fits Regina are her juicy tracksuits. And so she's not allowed to sit at the plastics table because the rule is
And
no
they
sweatpants.
put her in a fat suit.
Yeah.
This wasn't even like really
I
stuff for clothes.
It
was
looked
really
like she was
offensive.
bloated on her
I
period.
hated it. It was so
Right.
stupid.
I
It's that Y2K bullshit.
they also did it where they were at that store where it was, what was the name of the store where the sizes?
135
135.
So the funny thing is, growing up, there was a store called 579.
579.
Yep.
I
And
know.
I remember in elementary school, that was the place to go.
Yeah.
It was a
And
place.
I remember how devastated a bitch was when she was no
Longer at 9.
Uh,
Yeah.
The worst.
That is, I never realized how like
It's really
crazy
traumatizing.
Yeah.
that was. Yeah.
And so then the third thing on their list is Army of Skanks. So they start to drive a wedge between
Gretchen and Karen and Regina.
Yes. And so the first thing that they do is they find out that Regina only gets candy grams. She doesn't ever give them. And so they send candy grams to Katie and
Which was
Karen.
brilliant. That was a
Yeah.
really
So
brilliant move.
brilliant.
It was like the smartest thing she did the whole movie.
And at the like they started with Gretchen and just like planting seeds,
Yeah.
which makes sense because Karen doesn't seem like she cares either way as much. I mean, you never know, but starting with Gretchen, knowing that Gretchen wanted Regina's approval so much,
Yes.
probably stemming from daddy issues. It was just once Gretchen crashed and all the secrets came out, the easier it was. Because I think they were all like, look, we're not getting her fast enough at this point. And after she did the thing with Aaron, then Katie was full steam ahead.
Yeah.
With the plan and losing herself in the same breath.
Yeah. See, during the Jingle Bell Rock, like
Right.
Gretchen is always like on one side of Gretchen, her right, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she
Yeah,
makes
Regina did some stuff without Katie even having to
do anything. Yeah. She was like, you're getting on my nerves. But you know what? What I really think it was that this was Regina all the time. It wasn't anything new. I think that Gretchen was just more aware and was getting needier and needier once like that first peg was like pushed.
Yes.
And it was like really easy for them to.
Yeah. I mean, there'd been 3 of them for a while.
Yeah.
At least a year.
Yeah.
Right.
And to have the threat of being replaced potentially.
Right. Was crazy.
Probably pretty scary for her.
Gretchen definitely had daddy issues because the way that she was all over Jason all the time and that boy didn't want her. And I was like, Gretchen, girl, look in the mirror. You can just like Jason is so not even good enough to be on your level. What's happening? Tragic.
Mediocre. And then they do that thing that they do in movies and in real life. I remember doing 3-way calls where you don't tell the other person that
oh god, that's terrifying to me. I think that's like the scariest thing in the whole movie. It's like accidentally sending a text to the wrong person about them.
Oh,
I only did that with boys. I never did that with girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, do you want to find out if so likes you? Okay, let me call him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Be quiet. Hi, can I speak to James?
I never thought about that. I had friends do that for me, like on AOL Instant Messenger. They'd be like, I'm messaging with, and they'd send me like screenshots of like the conversation.
That too. That would happen. Yeah.
And so then Karen finds out that like Regina talks shit about her, and we get that I'm sick.
I can't go out.
Boo, you whore.
Boo, you whore. Also a really classic quotable line.
I use it all the time.
Yeah, it's so good.
Sometimes I use it. People don't know that I'm referencing.
Did she just call me a whore?
Boo, you whore.
Can we talk about mathletes or math club or whatever?
Yeah, mathletes.
I love that one parts of Katie's storyline is that in order to get Aaron, she feels that she has to dumb herself down.
Yes.
And again, I don't know where like, I'm guessing she learns this just in her, as soon as she's in this environment. I don't think, well, we know she wasn't like this before because she was doing well in math class. She was excelling. She was speaking up. So it's definitely something I feel like she learns from the plastics, that maybe the fact that Regina kind of plays that dumb character a little bit with Aaron, even though she's playing him like a fiddle when they're together. And so she feels like she has to do it. And she's like failing math class. And I thought that was a really good lesson, because I think every girl at some point, when you think back in your like early career in elementary school, there's some point where you're
It
not
wasn't
like
cool to be smart.
right
There
when you
was
Yeah.
some
started
element
liking
of that.
boys.
You
Yep.
make yourself less than to
Right.
to
Start making
boost
yourself
his ego,
right.
which
Yeah.
tragic.
Tragic.
So I like that we get to see some of these elements that happen in for teenage girls, especially from someone like Katie, who didn't grow up in this environment, that this is like something new to her. That, you know, as soon as she says she wants to join Mathletes, the plastics are like, no, you can't do that. That's
Yeah.
social suicide to be in that group, which sucks.
Yeah.
Because she's good at math.
Right.
I
Like-
really like Aaron Samuel's perspective on all of it when he was like, why? Why did you do that?
Yeah.
You
Right.
didn't have to do that. He like picked up the picture of her as a kid, and he's like so wise for a high school guy.
But he's also
But
just
he was like
so,
interested in people being authentic,
Yeah.
I
But
think
he was also
over
so
Regina.
dumb.
ironically.
Because
Yeah.
he just let
But he was still a boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he just let Regina do whatever and he was fine with it. It's
He
like
was like chill with
no.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I also think that, like, especially from a media standpoint and from when you look at teen girl movies, just how put together, how beautiful girls have to be in these movies. And then
Yes.
the boys in this movie, mediocre at best,
Yeah.
looks wise. Like, I'm not saying anybody's ugly or anything like that, but in comparison to the girls, I was just like, what? Shane
Yeah.
Ullman? Okay. Aaron?
Okay.
You know?
In the musical Mean Girls movie, the Aaron Samuels they chose, I was like, who is this kid that needs a shower? Like, I was like, no,
I don't
absolutely
know
not.
what I'm gonna honestly say. I don't
Okay,
know
I have
what
to watch it
happened.
now.
Chris Briney, I think is his name, because on the show The Summer I Turned Pretty, I think he looks a lot better than he did it from just the promos, because you know I refused to see the Mean Girls musical movie. I was like, where did that forehead come from? Did he always have that middle part? I'm like, maybe
Interesting.
he just does not look well in that movie. Personally,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I was not seeing what Katie saw in the Mean
But
Girls musical.
Jonathan Bennett, what, like, I like him as an actor,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I was not.
I think he's more attractive now that he's older than he was in Mean
Yeah.
Girls.
Oh, for sure.
I'll just say sure. He looks the fucking same to me.
I believe it.
So we also
Uh,
have this subplot of Katie is triple booked for a weekend. Her parents are going to Madison to take her to some
Women's
speaker.
conference or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
I thought it was Lady Smith Black Mambazo.
It
is.
was, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. I'm glad somebody remembered the whole thing.
But
And
you
then-
love Lady Smith Black Mambazo.
But Katie doesn't plan on having that party. Let's talk about how
No.
Karen
she doesn't.
and Gretchen are actually shitty friends for
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
They invite literally the whole school to her house, except for obviously Regina. And she's like, oh, I think we're just going to have a few people. And they like bum rush her house.
Yeah.
I got cheese
So-
and crackers for 8 people. Is that enough? They're like, yeah.
Mhm.
Sure. But this is when she tells Aaron like she's really good at math. She gets drunk and just starts word vomiting and then actual vomiting all over him.
Pukes on him.
Because she talks about Regina all the time
Yeah.
to Janice and Damien, and
Obsessed.
now to Aaron. And Aaron's like, yo, the reason I liked you is because you were the antithesis, the opposite of this girl that I'm so over. I want authenticity, and what you're becoming just like them. Even though that dress she was wearing was bomb, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Love that.
it was really cute. I don't know why he shat on that.
It's
He was like, oh, new clothes? It's not.
is it the
It's
pink and black one
Yeah.
at the party? It's very similar to the spring fling dress Regina wears. Though.
Oh,
It's
good
the
point.
same color palette and the same profile.
Oh.
Katie just wears a bra with hers, where Regina doesn't. I noticed that.
Yes, Katie's got more bosoms. It was, let me just say,
she got some boobies.
It was harder to get a strapless bra back in the day.
It's true.
Oh,
We have way more options now. Back then, it was just like a hope and a dream.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say prayers and whatever. Thoughts and prayers.
So now she has lied to her parents because she said she was going to stay home. I can't even remember why she told them she was staying home. Oh, to go to Janice's art thing.
Art show, yeah.
She doesn't go to the art show. Instead, she has what she thinks is going to be a small get together, which is like a rager. She has to hide the fertility vases. And then Janice shows up while this giant party is going on. And Damien, this is the one joke that lands better in the Mean Girls musical movie, because instead of borrowing the car from his parents and has to get home from curfew, in the Mean Girls musical, he has a hover-round. Like, he just has his grandma's scooter, and they're just doing like slow donuts in the cul-de-sac, yelling at Katie in the Mean Girls musical movie. If you watch any scene, watch that one. It's hilarious. So now, like, everyone's mad at Katie. Aaron's mad. Janice and Damien are mad. Regina's mad. Regina finds out that the Caltine bars were putting on weight, not taking them off. And Regina's plan is I'm going to write in the burn book, but I'm not going to write something about Katie. I'm going to write something about me and then turn it into the principal and blame it on Katie and Gretchen and Karen.
It's so funny to me that the principal was like, why would she write that about herself? And they're like, because she's planting evidence. What do you mean? Like, he doesn't get it at all.
I just think sometimes, like, I really hate when men act obtuse about stuff. Like, like, if there's a woman that you don't like and they're passive aggressive, but the man like can't see it, and instead of like trusting you that bitch trifling, or even like us having natural instincts of just knowing that someone is not for you, and they're like, I just want to be logical. It's logical, motherfucker, that bitch ain't right. And why do you have to question me? And you don't see like this other layer of shit that's happening. It's so infuriating. It drives me crazy when that happens. Ugh, bitches be bitching.
Bitches be bitching.
So Regina also, before she turns the burn book in, she makes photocopies and distributes them throughout the school. So now everyone is like finding out about the deep throated hot dog and wide set vagina, and
some of those things are so stupid.
They're really stupid.
Like, and
then people start like punching each other, and I'm like, why?
It's not serious. The wheelchair girls were like ready to kill each other with their wheelchairs. I'm like, what's going on? It was diabolical. It was a great plan by Regina, must say. But Regina never, like, nobody really, I mean, Janice gets her moment, but nobody really puts Regina kind of in her place for her bad behavior. Yes, she gets hit by a bus, but it's like, I don't know how much she really learns from it.
No.
At all.
Yeah. So they all get
that's a good point.
Gathered in the gym, and at first the principal is trying to handle things, but then it's like, oh, these are girl issues. I need a woman's perspective. And so
I mean,
Mrs.
I wasn't mad about that. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that it was better because, again, he can't really see. It was just like, if he's not even going to take it seriously,
Yeah.
why, like, he shouldn't be in charge of it. And he doesn't know how to talk to young girls,
Yeah.
clearly.
So they all have to do
Trust
kumbaya,
falls.
trust falls. No one catches
Suck on that.
Gretchen.
Well, Gretchen doesn't admit, she's just as bad as Regina,
Yeah.
essentially, because she doesn't admit to her wrongdoings. Only Karen tries to help her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Janice goes crazy and pretty much admits to the entire plan that Katie and her had against Regina.
Yeah.
And I don't know why Regina acted like she was so hurt by that. She's like, I took you under my wing. You can't believe we were really friends.
Yeah.
I'm just a minion to you. Like, give me a break.
Oh, we also get the classic line because there's this girl like pouring her heart out and getting ready for the trust fall.
Oh, yeah.
And Damien's just like, she doesn't even go here. And it's like, you shouldn't even be here, Damien. Like, this is like all the girl on girl hate
That's what's
crime.
funny about that is that he's just like dropping in like incognito
Yeah.
somehow everywhere. He's
I
like,
love
she doesn't even
it.
go here.
I think it's hilarious that Katie did not get in trouble at all from her parents until after Regina like accidentally gets hit by the bus.
Yeah.
And then, obviously the school calls. And then she also, on top of everything, she has to tell her dad that she's failing school. But her parents, like, their thought process is like, oh, maybe we did this too soon. It's junior year high school. How
Yeah.
much
She's grown.
Yeah, right.
Right. Like, what are you gonna wait
They're
till
very naive
college?
parents too.
Crazy. Real insane.
There really is no
Yeah.
montage though.
Montage.
No montage.
When they go shopping, kind of, and they're walking in the hallway, and Katie's kind of
Oh, there's the slow-mo walking
right.
of
Yeah.
like, now I'm in the plastics. That's
Right.
an
But there's
iconic
no like
shot.
makeover montage.
No, there isn't. There's no like none of that.
I think they did that on purpose. Like, they
Yeah, I think
purposely, you're slowly seeing Katie turn into a plastic.
That's
Yeah.
more realistic.
Yes, because yes, they do give her a makeover. You do see her change her clothes, but like the progression of her turning into a plastic is slow. It's a slow burn.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
Miss Norbury is in the burn book because she just says like she's trying to get Katie to realize like you don't have to make yourself dumb for a boy.
Right.
And like you're great at math and I'm going to push you and make sure you like do the right thing, and it gets misconstrued and put in the burn book as she deals drugs. And so as extra credit for pretending to be stupid all year, Katie has to do the
smart.
mathletes. Yeah.
Which is such a fun scene.
Love it.
I
The
would
mathletes.
never forgive her for that shit.
Yeah, it is pretty messed up. She's very gracious.
Yeah.
And
being
it's,
like, you just have to learn a life lesson.
No, bitch. Not I would ruin your life.
Well, she did own up. I will say she did own up to saying, like, I'm the one who wrote it. It's not a real accusation. That probably was helpful.
Yeah.
But still fucked up.
I love Rajiv. He's one of my favorite characters.
I was Kevin DeVore. I'm Kevin DeVore. Making love to you on the bathroom floor.
I love him.
He was great.
I just also wanted to shout out the fact that, the characters behind me are, what are they called? The
unfriendly black hotties. I believe.
Black hotties.
Well, to just wrap up the movie real quick, the limit does not exist. And so Katie wins, and then she goes and wins Spring Fling Queen, but then she breaks her little crown and
how big was that crown?
Would have stabbed the hell out of her fingers.
Yes.
Right.
But anyway.
How big was that crown? Because there was a lot of pieces.
But it was just plastic.
It was just plastic.
I think that was I think they were trying to be jokey with it.
Yeah.
It's just like so many pieces of this tiny crown. And then Tim being like, it's not required of you to make a speech.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, for real, like, you don't need to be talking. She's like, I'm almost done, I swear. This is really, I just thought that was so funny.
But that's how Katie like makes retribution and that
Heals
is
the entire school.
she does.
Heal the world.
So much so the plastics
Make
are debanded.
it a better place.
Karen is a weather girl because she can
is.
feel the rain with her
Yeah.
breasts. Gretchen is now in with the Asian crew. Now Regina plays lacrosse when she's with the sports girls because they're not intimidated by her.
Which tracks the most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Katie just hangs out with Damien and Janice. And anytime any of the new plastic girls try to pop up, they do a little reminder with the,
Bus.
they can't keep it up for too long.
Yeah.
A
Well,
bus.
that is Mean Girls. We did it.
That was Mean Girls.
Here we go.
So costume designer Mary Jane Fort told Nylon, we tried to have a little bit of individuality in the group, the plastics. Regina sort of told everyone else what to do. So within the realm of that, Gretchen was a little bit more demure and a little sweeter, which sort of evoked the cardigan. And Karen was truly the follower. So she would do a little bit of either Regina or Gretchen, and they would tell her what to do. So she would do it. When you put Katie into the mix and she started to surpass Regina, that's when it became really fun. Regina slips into her juicy warm-ups, which at the time was kind of couch potato-ish. And Janice and Damien do not look like the plastics at all, but have their own sense of style and have their own wills. They have a plan too, but it's just might not have been the plan of the plastics. And I love that. The Karen stuff, I feel like I want to go back and watch again to see like
yeah, now I want to check that out.
Which outfits.
This was the feature film screenwriting debut for Tina Fey.
And it was Amanda's film debut as well.
Yes.
Yes, it was. It's very exciting for her. She's a good one.
Tina Fey and Amy Poehler apparently coached Rajiv on how to rap for his on-screen performance.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
Of course they did. What is that about? What a weird...
So random. I do
this
love
is how you rap.
Yeah.
Right.
Two white women. That
right.
just says a lot.
I love his little business card.
Yes.
Oh yeah. He was funny.
Damien's line, and I want my pink shirt back, was improvised by the actor Danielle, and Tina Fey later approved it.
I thought it was brilliant. I liked that whole scene.
Yes.
How he's driving just to get a cool shot. They justified it by him saying like, I'm not stopping this car. I have a curfew. Like,
yes.
Just to get that cool shot. It just was so, I like that part.
Tim Meadows, he actually did break his hand before shooting.
I did hear this before. Yeah.
He had to wear that cast. So they explained it away, apparently, to a carpal tunnel. So.
And the skirts for the Christmas talent show are made out of plastic. The costume designer says that they were made out of that material to represent the plastics.
And talk about committing. Amy Poehler pinned a piece of a cocktail wiener into her bra to encourage the chihuahua to nibble on the nips. Those so fake funny. Nips.
I love that.
Yeah, that was a nice detail.
I think that the parents were a great added element. Like, I love that we don't really ever get to see Regina's dad. I think we see him, but like, he doesn't speak.
He's in the audience during the Jingle Bell Rock, I think.
Right. I think so. I think we see him in the house at some point, but I'm not sure. And then it's scary about the little sister just like being alone to her own devices.
Wild.
Oh yeah, that was really sad.
It was weird.
Sad.
And so like being able to see, like you said, Regina needs boundaries because she doesn't have them at home. Her mom is so concerned with being like her friend. And then, you see Katie's parents clueless as hell. So all the adults are ill-equipped. But I also
Yeah.
like that because now that we're adults, we realize them motherfuckers don't know what the hell they're doing.
Mm-mm.
So it's on par. All right, before we get into the ratings, Gwen, again, tell everybody where they can find you on social whenever you pop up on us.
I'm on Instagram and I'm on TikTok. I'm there. My name's Gwen Carole, or Gwendolyn Instagram if you want to get fancy.
And don't forget to hit us up at No More Late Fees on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Thread. Gwen, we're going to start with you with present day ratings. What's your rating of Mean Girls today?
I would buy it. It stays the same. My rating stays the same. It is a good movie. I learned so much about this movie today, though, and I will be rabbit holing
Yes.
the rest of the evening about it.
Jackie?
I would buy it for me. I will watch it anytime it's on.
Same. I think this is a quality ass movie. Yes, I had a lot of critiques, but I think this is a good ass movie. It really holds up.
Yeah.
I laugh every time. I don't get bored with it. And I love the aesthetics of it too. So yes, love, 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 love this movie.
Well,
Highly recommend.
If you have any feedback for us, what you liked, disliked about Mean Girls or our commentary on, hit us up at our quick drop 909-601 and MLF. That's 6653. Twat us at the Twitters, hem us at the threads, and you could be featured on a future episode.
And join us next week as we continue spooky season with Ghost Ship.
And Gwen, it was lovely as always. Our little next of kin.
We love
I
you so
love
much.
you.
We love you too.
When I was making that post yesterday, I was like, when I put notable guests, she's gonna be like, you guys are ridiculous.
Yeah, I did actually think that exact thought.
You are a notable
You
guest.
are the most notable.
Stop
And
it.
you would never show up in our burn book.
Never.
Never.
Our love book, yes. Our burn book, never.
Yes. And always stay fetch, be kind, and rewind.
Incredible.